Welcome to Santiago! To be honest, it feels kind of weird to be welcoming you. I very much feel like a newcomer here still. I've been here for 6 days so far, and I've already been on my first weekend trip out of the city, but this video is going to be about moving. This is my 7th time moving to a new country and building a new life from the foundations up. So I feel pretty qualified to comment on some of the assumptions about moving abroad that I've come across over the years. Assumption number 1. That the last week before you leave is the perfect time to meet up with absolutely everyone to say goodbye before you go. Every time I move, lots of my friends try and wait until the last week to see me and say goodbye. Obviously, I really love seeing my friends just before I move, but the beautiful montage that you're imagining of heartfelt moments and coffees and hikes and swims with everyone you know, laughing and maybe a bit of crying, all crammed into the last week, is just absolutely not how it goes. The last week before leaving is for packing and updating your bank and contacting your phone provider and contacting the student loan company, checking the airline, chasing up with the shipping company, messaging the person who's going to collect you from the airport when you arrive. Like, it just goes on and on and on. It is an emotional experience, but the overwhelming emotion that I feel when I'm about to move abroad is frustration, because you wait listening to hold music and checking your email like a bazillion times a day for a week. 4 more sleeps until I go to Chile. I'm completely overwhelmed with the number of things I still have to do. I haven't really made a huge amount of progress with packing yet, so that's obviously the big one. I've got rid of almost everything that needs to go, but I've now reached that stage of overwhelm where I can't just sit down to relax anymore, because the moment I sit down or the moment I put the kettle on, another thing pops into my head that I have to do. And I have this crazy long to-do list on my phone of stuff I've got to get done before I'm ready to leave. Some of it's really quick, it will be really easy, like pick up all of my lost property from my sister's house, that kind of thing. But some of it is going to be really complex, like I need to make sure my health insurance is definitely activated from the moment I arrive in Chile and not from the day I start work. Assumption number 2. What an incredible opportunity. I bet you can't wait to leave this all behind. For me, the really difficult emotional bit usually comes in waves, and each wave hits a little bit closer to my heart. The last time I bought challah at my favourite bakery, leaving my old rented place in London, saying goodbye to my old class, the last meal in an Indian restaurant with that friend that I always ate Indian food with, the last time I took the dog for a walk. So this is our last dog walk together. The last hug with my parents, the last time I picked up my nephew, and then obviously it's time to leave. Now obviously England is still there and I can always go back, but my head knows that. But as I'm getting closer and closer to moving day, actually my heart kind of forgets. So if you make statements about how like, oh, you must be so excited, I bet you can't wait to go, there's a reasonable chance I might cry. Assumption number 3. You must be terrified. Obviously I am a bit scared, but as my heart grows heavier with realising all the things that I'm going to miss when I leave, I'm also simultaneously filling up with excitement like a helium balloon. As life in Chile gets closer and like clearer, sharper images start to replace all the fuzzy imagined future that I've been daydreaming about when I was half a world away, it starts to suddenly feel real. I always feel a bit scared, so maybe this assumption is true, but the fear is always overshadowed by excitement. I can't wait for the adventure to get started. I spent more than a year deciding where I was going to live next, and I've read so many like travel memoirs. Even my Lonely Planet guide is already taped back together. I'm not really scared, I'm just excited. Moving is of course another jump into the unknown, and moving abroad is an even bigger jump. And living somewhere unfamiliar is hard and confusing, but I know that the highs of living abroad will be so much higher than they would be back home, and that more than makes up for the fact that the lows are also lower. Assumption number 4. The first couple of weeks when you get abroad are going to be absolutely magical. So I've been trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with my rubbish, and I just asked some guy who told me that these cages are both like the wheelie bin and also like the public bin. He said something about recycling. I didn't understand it, so I guess I'll find out about recycling another day. In reality, the first week in a new country is actually not when the adventure really starts. It's another week of insane life admin. Unpack, find the nearest supermarket, figure out how to use the new washing machine, accidentally wash your clothes with washing up liquid instead of laundry detergents. Get a new SIM card, get a new bank account, get a new Oyster card, figure out your way on your new commute. And then hopefully meet new people, maybe start making some friends even. Assumption number 5 is a combination of, oh my god, you must be so brave, and whoa, you're so lucky to have found some support that's going to make that easy or at least manageable for you. So part of this is true. I absolutely am incredibly lucky that I have the opportunities to do this, that my lifestyle works this way, and that I've had the support necessary in order to be able to do it reasonably easily. But I'm not extremely brave. I'm just a perfectly normal person living a perfectly normal life who just takes every opportunity that's presented. And I end up going on these amazing adventures. But anyone else who was in my life situation who had the same opportunities I had would almost certainly be doing these amazing things too. You don't have to be brave to go on adventures. I'm Slowmadic Kaylee. I'm a nomadic teacher, and I make videos about the places I go and the interesting things I get to do there. If you are this far into my video, you might be interested in joining me for my next adventure, which is a weekend away in Valparaiso. So maybe subscribe. You know that feeling when you're wearing like 5,000 layers of sun cream and like dripping with sweat, so you look and feel a little bit like a candle that's been burning for a while, and then your gorgeous new acquaintance comes over looking like a goddess as she gracefully glides over, wearing a beautiful linen dress that doesn't even have any crumples on it, and like Chileans kiss on the cheek to greet, so she did that. And we were momentarily stuck to each other because I am so sticky.